startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless you have, if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, all the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm glad to be here. Thanks, Quinn, for that great introduction there. We're excited, and we got Roy on. I see he popped back on there. How are you doing there? Yeah, Roy, how are you? You got your mic muted there.
Yes, there we go. I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Appreciate you hopping into networking there to kind of chime in with some of the founders and have great conversation there as well.
Absolutely. It was a good time.
Yes, yes, fantastic. So we're definitely glad to have you back on. It's probably been a year and a half, 2 years. I don't know. It's been a while. Yeah, back in Blacks in Technology days back in, I think it was 2023.
It was 23.
Yeah, now we're in 2026. Wow. Yeah, time flies. But yeah, so it's labor of love. I've still been here every Thursday night. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun, a lot of good information shared, and we appreciate you coming on to share your journey as well. So I'm gonna pull up this on stage and give you just a minute or two to kind of go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'm gonna show a video about you and what you've been doing, and let you see what you think, how well Notebook LM did.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested. I've heard about this Notebook LM, but
Yeah.
So my name is Roy Hatcher. I am the founder of a company called New Beings Inc. It's a full-service digital media and technology company. We create our own unique IPs, and we also help other creators create their own IP and bring to market as owners for monetization. So the company has 4 divisions. It has the New Tech Lab. It has the New Academy. Everything has new in front of it, by the way.
Okay, already. Yeah.
New Academy. There's the new studio. And the new studio is where we produce our own IP.
Yes.
The Academy is where we teach people how to create their own IP. And then we have the agency, new agency, where we work for other people. And so,
Yes.
and that's pretty much myself and the company. I've been doing animation for about 13 years. I've been using Unreal Engine since it was the UDK. For those who know what that is, it's the Unreal Development Kit. And now we're on Unreal Engine 5.7.4. So it's been a nice long ride. I use several other tools, including Blender. I started off in 3D Studio Max. Then
Okay.
fell in love with Maya, and then found Blender and was just like, well, damn, this tool is just as powerful, and it's free. So so that was a no-brainer. I started using Blender, and then of course the Unreal Engine, and then now AI has come on. has come on board. And so really taking time to hone the skills and learn the AI tool and learning how to add it into the pipeline. And I say AI tool as if they're all the same, but we know that they all have various different attributes and things that they can do. But I feel like if you're not learning artificial intelligence and learning how to implement it into what your day-to-day is, especially in your job, then you're setting yourself up for not having a job.
Yeah.
Having a problem later on with earning revenue. So
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to asking you about some of the tools you're using, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Before I show the video, we might as well go ahead and give a little shout out to our sponsors, and make everybody aware of this event we got coming up this month on the 17th. We're going to do a reception here at the Kakua Institute, and then on the 18th, we're going to have a bunch of workshops for our third Innovation Summit and Tour.
nice.
And and of course, the whole theme is going to be about AI, right? Yeah, we actually do have one session that's the beginning session. It's we got some professional athletes, and they're going to do a panel on Are You Coachable? So that should be pretty interesting. But the rest of the stuff, we got some non-tech AI founders, two non-tech AI founders that's going to be showing how they use AI in their business to expand their business, and then we're going to have some technical founders as well sharing their stuff. We're going to have some of the founders going to bring their robots and security doors and virtual reality. So it should be a really neat thing. We're doing that in conjunction with Black Innovation Leaders of Florida. And so we're looking forward to that. So the good news is I'll share the links to sign up for that. We doing both in person and online. We can probably squeeze in up to 100 in person, but with this same particular platform here we're using now, we can get up to 1,000 people online. And so we won't be streaming it to YouTube and all those places. You will have to register, and even if you can't attend and the live stream, you still need to register so you can get access to the videos and stuff later. But I'll share more about that. Make sure you have the links for all that stuff later.
Sounds like a good time.
Oh yeah. One of these times we got to get you down here to show all this creative stuff you got going on.
I love it.
Okay. Yeah. And we've been around doing this particular event since August 13th of 2020, and we missed one event in the last 5.5 years. And so, but only reason we've been able to do it because our partners and sponsors, and these are some of our folks we've partnered with in the past. Some of them we're still currently partnering with them, but they enable us to grow and support our founder community. And these are some of the financial sponsors, and they're the ones that contribute to support what we're doing here weekly, but they also are supporting the event, coming up as well. And so we're definitely appreciative of the support that we get from those folks. Yeah, for those of you all that are new, we offer several training, and so this year we're rolling out our Founders Insight OS deal, and this is the reason why you want to actually attend the Innovation Summit and Tour, because this is where we're going to unveil this stuff and make it available to U.S. founders. And if we have time later, I'll share some updates with about Lean Stack Startup Science. Everybody's moving towards AI now, so There have been some changes on both platforms. But this Startup Science is like an ecosystem in a box. There's one-stop shopping for training, perks, free stuff, discount stuff, and also grants, all the money stuff, documents. It's all the folks. So when you sign up for our Founders Insight program, you get access to all of that stuff. Yeah, and I think that's about it. And the reason why we do this is because we want founders to learn what it takes to take advantage of the ecosystem. When I say take advantage of the ecosystem, that means you get stuff. You don't have to spend your own money to do what you're trying to do. So that's what's neat about that. Ecosystem only speaks one language, and that's the lean canvas. So if you don't understand that, you're dead in the water, because that's when you fill out an application, they're asking you the same thing that's on that lean canvas. That's your business model. So that's why we're here to kind of help you crack that code. It's like the key to unlock the resources to get you to the point where you're generating revenue, and so where you can actually start relying on your customers, to grow your company. Righty. So let's see, can we switch to this video? So you participated in through Black in Technology. Yeah. So what was that experience like for you? Going through the program there.
So initially, it was when we first started it. I didn't really know what to expect, especially not like lean.
Yeah.
The mindset was, lean sounds like it's going to be thin, or it's not going to be strong or whatever. But lean is actually really strong. It gets you clarity, and that's what going through the Blacks in Technology. That's what it did for me personally. It allowed me to get really clear on New Beings and create the platform that allowed me to springboard and launch to where we are today. So it was very helpful.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to thank you for even putting it together and running it and inviting me into it. It's like, it was very, very helpful.
Yeah. It helps you learn a lot about how you build business models for startups. Yeah, see, Tony has a question, and so that reminds me, anybody that's out there listening, feel free to ask questions at any time, chime in. And so, Tony, we do have some licenses for the Co-Founder OS. And so, if you want to try it out, just, let me know. Appreciate you asking. Yeah, and I haven't kept tabs on because it's a AI-based platform from the beginning, because it literally when you apply to get in a cohort or something, it rates your application and it literally grades you on in essence the lean canvas. But there's 8 things all ecosystem organizations want to know, lenders want to know, and so that startup Co-Founder OS is actually grades you on how well you answer the questions, and then it helps you learn how to answer the questions. So that's what's neat about it. So appreciate you asking about it. So next, I'm going to share I did a little research on Roy today, his LinkedIn profile and his website, and I had Notebook LM create a video, explain a video about Roy. So Roy, you're going to have to let us know how good it is.
I'm interested.
Okay, here it goes.
So for a minute, let's forget about the founders who are building, apps or the next big product. Today, we're diving into a totally different kind of entrepreneur, the founder who builds entire worlds. When you first see what Roy Lee Hatcher is doing, you might just think, wow, that's an incredibly talented 3D animator. But asking, is he just an animator? Well, that's where things get really interesting, because the answer reveals this fascinating new way of thinking about creative entrepreneurship.
See, this isn't just about making a cool cartoon. What he's doing with his company, New Beings Inc., is so much bigger. He's literally architecting an entire universe, a complete intellectual property with its own deep story, characters, and culture. Okay, so to really get what's going on, let's start with the obvious, what you see on the surface. And at first glance, yeah, what you see is a super talented, independent animator. So let's just lay it all out. The man is Roy Lee Hatcher, a 3D master generalist. He founded New Beings Inc. and created the animated series New Beings. But here's the kicker, the part that really gets me. He built the first season pretty much by himself. Think about that. Director, writer, producer, the whole shebang. That level of intense, hands-on work tells you everything you need to know about his craft and his drive. And this is where we get to the heart of it, a really crucial difference. A traditional animator, they're often selling their services, right? They're working in a world someone else built. But an IP founder? They're building an asset. The value isn't just in the animation itself. It's in the ownership of the characters, the story, the community, all of it. So that leads us right to the big question we're trying to answer here. If he's not just in the animation business, what business is he really in?
And to really wrap our heads around this, I think we actually need a new name for this kind of founder. Let's call it the sovereign creator founder.
Okay, so what on earth does that actually mean? It means this is someone who isn't just making stuff for people to watch. They are building and owning the entire universe from the ground up. The story, how it's made, the intellectual property, all of it. We're talking total creative and economic control. And this quote, man, this just perfectly sums up the whole mindset. It gets right to the core of it. He doesn't have to wait for some big studio to give him the green light. He's not trying to fit into their box. He's building his own. He has narrative sovereignty.
All right, so having a grand vision for a universe is awesome, but how do you actually turn that into a real sustainable business? That's the million-dollar question, right? How does this amazing world-building idea actually become a company that works?
Well, if you look closely, you can start to see a really smart, multi-layered business model taking shape. It all kicks off with the core IP, the New Beings universe. From there, layer 2 is all about taking those viewers and building a genuine community. Then you get a third layer, turning his amazing skills into an educational offering. And finally, there's even a potential fourth layer, using all that production power to offer services to other businesses. It's a really clever stack.
Okay, but this whole thing isn't just happening in a vacuum. This new kind of founder is emerging right now because, honestly, the tools are finally catching up to the vision. Creators have incredible new leverage.
And this is a really big piece of the puzzle. Hatcher is super open about using AI-assisted workflows. And why wouldn't he be? For one person or a tiny team, AI is like having a superpower. It's a massive force multiplier that lets you chase Hollywood-level ideas without needing a Hollywood-level budget.
But let's be real. This is a huge, ambitious path, and it is absolutely loaded with challenges. We got to look at the potential risks too.
And what's interesting is that the biggest risks aren't really about the creative side. They're built into the very structure of this kind of venture. First, you get the founder bottleneck, where if one person is doing too much, it's hard to scale. Then there's the audience conversion gap. It's one thing to get views. It's another thing entirely to build a paying community. You've also got the fact that original IP can take a long time to pay off. And finally, there's the challenge of explaining this huge creative vision in a way that investors who speak the language of business can really get behind.
Okay, so we've looked at the creative vision, the business plan, the tech, the risks. When you pull it all together, what's the real story here? What's the big takeaway?
Well, for starters, it's not just about animation. That's just the beginning of the story, the surface layer.
The real story is about a massive power shift. It's about reclaiming narrative power by building and owning your own digital worlds. We're watching creators go from just being players in the game to building the entire stadium themselves. It's about owning the narrative from start to finish.
And that's what makes this sovereign creator founder's idea so powerful. It's where culture, technology, and business all crash into each other. Roy Lee Hatcher isn't just building one of those things, he's building all three at the exact same time. And that really leaves us with a big final question to chew on. How many other founders out there are doing this, building the very future of culture, not just the future of business? Because those are the people who are truly building what's next.
Cool. So what's the verdict?
I'm gonna have to check out Notebook LM. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
that was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It hit the nail on the head. You know, it hit the nail on the head. Especially with you saying you just went and got information and fed it to it, and then it created that. That's awesome. I wouldn't expect nothing less from AI though. That's the thing, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, that's basically all I did. And just for the benefit of the audience, I kind of pointed a ChatGPT to your LinkedIn profile and your website, and then I used my Lanicha prompt to analyze the information from there, and I uploaded those 3 things, and then I did one additional step. So when I run the Lanicha thing, it basically did it on all the stuff, but then I did a second round and asked it to focus on you, and also go out and look on the web to see if there was some more information. Nice. And then I use those things to do it. And it also created a podcast, infographic, and a slide deck too. Yeah. So nice. And you can upload all your brand stuff to it, and it'll make everything look in your brand.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was looking at the characters.
The characters, yeah, I figured you would have a comment on that.
Like those don't look like my guys, but it was good though.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because you can, when you prompt it to create the video, you can actually prompt it to tell it what you want to use. But if you also had some characters uploaded as resources, it would literally use those characters in the video.
Nice. Yeah, I'm about to check that out. I definitely you turned me on to something again.
Yeah. Well, we learned a lot since 2023, Roy. So yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, so now we're gonna kind of review your journey again and let you get us up to speed. You were on here, I think, in 2023. So here we almost 3 years later. So yeah, and also I want to let everybody know we work with the Escambia County and Chris Source Escarosa, and we had about 20 students in last summer, and Roy came in and shared his experience with them, and the folks really appreciate it. I don't know if any of them followed up with you, because they were definitely interested, because at least we always have at least 10 to 20% of the students that are interested in gaming.
Yeah, I had a couple of the young men reach out to me about some tutoring. So
okay, yeah, okay, that sounds great. So take us back to the beginning, man. What got you into all this stuff?
Oh man, we gotta go
way back. But see, like, this is the reason why I do this, because people don't realize, each startup is typically based on the founder and their journey. And so what their journey is like really reflected is the reason why they're creating what they're creating.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so deep. For me personally, it started as a kid. I was an artist. I was always an artist, drawing and stuff like that. But when I was a kid coming up, the big thing was cartoons.
Yes.
And there weren't really the video games that they have today. We didn't have them when I was a kid coming up. So first it was all cartoons, it was animation. And so I always wanted to produce my own animations. I had stories to tell.
Yes.
And I made little comic books, and I was that kid. I'd go get the stack of printer paper, or back or the paper from the because we had the computers, but it was like the roll paper with the little
Yeah.
circle on it. Do you remember that old school?
Yeah.
I'd rip the paper and staple it together and draw little pictures and make comics or whatever. And fast forward, you can't. The pictures are static, right? And I always wanted them to move. So I was determined to do animation. And then, the Atari came out, ColecoVision, Atari, Tandy Computer had video games, and just on and on, all these different iterations. Then you had Nintendo, then Sega, then on and on and on. And so it was a natural progression that I figured, okay, I can make animations, but I could also make games.
Okay.
Right? Games are interactive stories, right? When you're playing video games, those are interactive stories. And but what really led me, what the thing that really hit me the hardest was when I realized that all these cool characters I had been watching and all these stories I've been taking in and feeling like I was a part of, I realized there's not really any characters that look like me in these stories. That's what really it just kind of slapped me in the face, And then the characters that did look like me, they weren't ever really the main characters.
Okay.
They were like either the sidekick or they were like the backup or the bad guy or, and so, and then when they were the main character, because there was some stories, some cartoons, animations where you'd have like a main character. Like, I don't want to name nobody's stuff, but you get what I'm saying. The stories wouldn't be accurately told, or the character persona or personality wouldn't be, you could tell one of us didn't write it, or if we did, we was like kind of watering it down or whatever. So I just determined, for me, being a Black man and having kids of my own and knowing what it feels like when, out here being profiled and dealing with, racism and stereotypes and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We need characters that look like us, that walk like us, talk like us, that represent us, but we also need characters that can show us even a different way of being, right?
Yeah.
And so I started working on the New Beings. It wasn't even like a pilot at the time. It was just like a story.
Okay.
And then I determined that, it was so many layers to it. But I realized that a lot of us, the stories that we do see, a lot of times it's either current or it's past. Like we were slaves, or now we're current in the hood, and we're trying to get out of the hood. Like, you got some of us that have gone to be football players, basketball players, music stars, some business, but you don't even really see the business people, the doctors, the scientists. You don't really see those in the stories too much, right?
Okay.
And so for me, it really boiled down to those of us who don't see ourselves in the future can't really see ourselves in the future. So I wanted to create a universe that's in the future and shows us in the future. Like, how, if you really think about it, Lloyd, and anybody else that's on the call, on the video, if you're Black, African American, from your African Caribbean, Afro Caribbean, any melanated, like, what do you see your lineage in 500 years from now? Like, if you really just think about it, where do you see your great, 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 great? And if you ain't thought about that, that's a problem to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it also speaks to my point that people who don't see themselves in the future can't see themselves in the future.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch any sci-fi movie, space movie, anything, you see who's in the future.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then you see who ain't. And if there is, it's only one of us. And it's usually a female.
Okay.
A Black woman gonna be around, you know. according to sci-fi.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was really important that we have representation in the story. But then it came to me that there's not representation in ownership. And
Wow.
that hit me even harder. So then it was like, okay, I could be just a creator and tell the stories and then sell them to Netflix or Disney or Hulu or whoever wants to buy them.
Uh-huh.
Once I sell them, this is their IP. They can do whatever they want with it. They can take it. They can change it up. They can. Then I started thinking, no, it'd be better if I build out a platform and I produce my own IP and I can put my own stories out. And, that way I can keep the essence of the messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went even deeper, realizing that I'm not the only one with stories to tell.
Okay.
There are other creators out here who have stories. There are other people who've been through life situations who have ideas. And so then it was, what I found in the industry since I've been these last 3 years, what I realized is that there's no clear pipeline from IP creation, from ideation to creation to monetization. There's no clear path.
Okay.
Without gatekeepers, there's no clear path.
Okay.
And so I've since then created a pathway.
Gotcha.
And that's what, that's what I'm really excited about, is being able to help creators who want to have ownership of their intellectual property, right? Because that's what builds legacy. Ownership builds legacy.
Gotcha.
And legacy is what you're able to pass down, if you will, to generations 500 years from now, if you understand that. So that's, I might not be able to how Martin Luther King said, I might not make it to the mountaintop with you, but you understand, we're going to clear the path.
Gotcha. Yeah. But this pattern, or what you're talking about, I think we should look at it in all the different industries, that we're involved in.
I agree.
If we don't leave anything to the next generation, they're going to be starting over from scratch.
1,000%. I agree.
Yeah, and so I think that's the challenge we have now. And I just celebrated a birthday yesterday, and so
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So all my siblings, with 3 of us in the 60s and 3 of us in the 70s, and so and then I got an older brother that's 85, and so I said, well, what should we be doing in this season of our life, and what role, how should we be thinking, and so I had the. I think this is what I do with Notebook LM. I just had to do deep research on the Bible, and for what verses are for this season of our lives, and it came back and said we should be teaching our grandchildren about our history and all this stuff. But it was pretty neat because I found that I need to do a better job with my kids, and grandkids, to prepare them and for the future. Because if they don't know about the past, they're gonna struggle in the present, and they're not gonna know how to handle the future. So,
Exactly.
so you're leading the way and setting the example in the creative space. And I think that's a good example for the rest of us to follow. And I think in my opinion, AI will help us do that. So that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, I truly am thankful. I'm really grateful for the advent or the invention of artificial intelligence and open AI, themselves, when they started off as a not for profit, and the company and Chat GPT was originally created, to help the people. And so, which is why I still rock with Chat. It's like, I think Chat is going to be considered like the granddaddy, like later on in the future, when we have like robots and you're able to download their consciousness to these machines. Chat going to be like the old man or the old lady, depending on your AI personality that you have. But
yeah, and I think this is a good time to mention that documentary that my wife took me to see yesterday, the AI doc. So those of you all out there, that's if you want to get a good kind of feel about AI and the future. All the AI experts are kind of interviewed and in there, and it kind of gets both sides of the AI story. Yeah. So I think that's really neat. Yeah. So did you notice in the tools that you were using, were they actually leveraging AI in the tools before AI became a thing?
No. No. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while, so I've seen the iterations of the tool, right? And so to that point, I'm going to say this too. If you're whatever industry that you're in, if let's just say, for instance, you don't necessarily know the ins and outs of how the inner workings of that industry. Like, I'll just use my industry as an example, but this relates to whatever you're doing. So if you're not an animator, right? You're not an animator. You're not a 3D modeler. You don't know how to make you don't know how to make the actual 3D character or object, and you're not a digital texture artist, so you don't know how to paint the stuff, but you can go and you can use like meshy 3D to make the object, right? You can make the object, and you can make the object, and you can also put the colors on it. You can rig it and all of that stuff using AI tools, right? That's cool, but my advice is that you also take some time to get into like a tool like Blender and mess around with modeling. Like, even if you just jump on YouTube and pull up a basic modeling tutorial, you learn how the mesh is supposed to flow, so that when it bends at the joints, it has good mesh bending. It doesn't all crinkle up and look nasty. Even though the AI tools are going to do these things for you, you should still have some, even if it's just base knowledge of how to do the job. And I feel like that's going to separate those people who are leveraging AI and doing okay from those people who are going to leverage AI and going to do like stellar. Like, if you understand the base of something, like the foundation of how a thing works, then it makes you even better at prompting or asking AI to do what it is you want to do. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It's and so no matter what career field you're in, your brain has been wired to know how to do stuff. And so when you go to use AI in that career field, that's going to make a big difference. And really that is the opportunity for everybody with AI, because your brain is wired different than everybody else's. And so that's what makes you unique and helps you to kind of move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really, you know, and I advise a lot of like parents who tend to think that AI is some kind of way going to dumb down their kids or whatever. I advise them to change that thought process, because AI is not going anywhere. And you actually do your child a disservice by not allowing them to learn this tool. And so, but if you really want your kid to be effective, what you should do is have your child learning AI, but also having it learn the back end of AI, like the coding of AI, because I know they're saying that like programmer, like AI can do the programming, and so vibe coding and all that, which is cool. Don't not knocking vibe coding or none of that. But the point of the matter is that the person who understands the foundation, like the inner workings of a thing, are
Yeah.
who will master that thing. So
I agree. And the way I explain to people, you know a lot about AI, because if you got a brain, it's trying to do the same thing that your brain does. So if you got a clue how your brain works a little bit, how it develops memories, that's all the AI is trying to do. So you already are really knowledgeable about it.
you got the most powerful AI tool in between your ears. A
Yeah.
lot of us don't even spend the time to master that, but that's a whole nother conversation. I can go there. I'm telling you.
Okay.
30 years of martial artist. So
So how is the martial arts stuff, shape your way you do business and how you go about doing what you're doing?
well, so the martial arts that I train in or have been training in for the last, so I've been doing martial arts total for 30 years exactly, right?
Yeah.
Actually, let me see, 31 years. This
Okay.
year, 31 years. But and all of them have a similar attribute, but there's one particular system that I've been training in since 2002
Mm-hmm.
is called Sistema, and it focuses on 4 pillars. And these
Okay.
four pillars, everybody that's alive uses these 4 things.
Okay.
But Sistema makes you be mentally or consciously aware of these 4 things.
Okay.
The first is breathing.
Okay. Breathing.
So you think that you're breathing just because you're alive. I've had people tell me, I'm breathing, I'm alive. No, because you can be you breathing incorrectly and can still live.
Yeah.
Right. So the first is breathing, and it's purposeful breathing. It's being very conscious of the fact that you're inhaling through your nose and you're exhaling out your mouth. Right. The second one is your posture.
Okay.
And so you want to be, of course, like those of us who are older and had like certain types of parents, we were always told, sit up straight, keep your back,
Yeah.
or those of us who are in the military, like, so I have both.
Yeah.
You want to have good posture. Well, the reason posture is important, breathing and posture are important in business, is because when you go to speak to people or when you're going to introduce yourself for the first time, if you have slouch posture and you're not breathing really good, then your mind is going to be clouded. Your appearance is going to look. So we use the term weak.
Okay.
But it makes you look less trustworthy.
Okay.
Less put together. Like you don't care about. And if you don't care about yourself, then you're not gonna care about this $1 million I'm about to give you for the business, right? So you get what I'm saying. So
yeah, sure.
Breathing, posture, and then your ability to stay calm.
Okay.
Breathing and posture feeds into your ability to stay calm. But the reason why you want to be able to stay calm is you don't allow your emotions to make your decisions.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
So if you stay calm, you're able to see more opportunities.
Okay.
You're able to not just see. When I say see, I can also mean hear.
Okay.
you're able to hear opportunities, see opportunities, feel opportunities. And that's really big in the personal protection worlds. Cause like
Gotcha.
as a woman, leaving the job, going out to your car, nobody's walking to your car, you're walking by yourself. Some people like to call it a spirit of discernment, but really that's just your sixth sense, right? Your awareness, being able to feel. And that comes from that calmness, that breathing, that posture, right? It gets bigger. And that translates into business as well, as being able to see possibilities. And then the last thing is the way that you move, the way that the way that you carry your body.
Okay.
And that comes directly from the way that you breathe, the way that your posture is. And moving means your ability to move efficiently.
Okay.
So like if you were, I get you, everybody's seen like the movie Taken, or you seen like The Bourne Identity, like Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
So that's those close quarter sort of quick, sharp movements for personal protection, for protection. That's sort of, if you ever saw me fight, that's how it would look, just real quick and to the point and done with the work. But that's efficient. That's why it works. It's not real big, and but the same thing can be said for when I'm doing anything else. When I go to the gym, I don't have a lot of wasted motion when I'm doing my exercises. When I'm in the kitchen cooking, I don't have a lot of wasted motion reaching for stuff out of the cabinet. It's very efficient when I go get it's just how you carry your body, and it carries you into your latter years. So like you said, you have a brother that's in his 80s. So how you carry your body now is going to determine how you carry your body later.
Gotcha.
And if you have bad posture, and if you got a slouch posture and things like that, the muscles start to deteriorate in that direction. So then you got like you ever seen people walk, and I don't talk about nobody, but you've seen potentially, if you're at the mall or you're at the park, you've seen people walking it. They got this rounded sort of shoulder posture.
Yeah.
Well, they did that to themselves, and it can be fixed, but it takes a lot of, atrophy. Exactly. It takes a lot of mental awareness, which is the 4 pillars. You have to be conscious.
Yeah, so like I'm glad you're talking about this stuff, because everything you learn, it has application, it has patterns, and that's what the AI is all about, patterns. And so like you may not realize it, but yeah, I was telling a couple of stories, and I think I may have mentioned this last week to the developer that's working with us, and so just to kind of help him move forward based on my experience, and so what I found in telling him the stories, and then I had the AI analyze the conversation that he and I had. And one of the reasons why I had the AI analyze the conversation, because he's a developer, and he was struggling with this idea of letting the AI, help him with this development. So one of the things that you can ask when you're analyzing something. So tell me about the tension that the developers having, with using AI with the coding. So, the thing explained to me just based on what was in the conversation. And so I learned from that, and he learned from that. And now he's using the AI and learning, using to help him learn faster and to help him code faster. So, but you just have to become aware of what your challenges are, and then the AI can help you overcome that. But what was amazing to me, I told a story like when I was my younger brother and I were, like barely even maybe not even in elementary school. My mother was doing days work, and when the when the white families kids got tired of the toys, they would throw them away. Up they break them, they throw them away. But she would bring them home, so my younger brother and I would fix them. And so I learned. I learned how to fix it. I learned problem solving. And then I had told a gentleman another story, and I didn't see any connection between the story, but the AI saw the connection between both stories, because when I had the opportunity to go down to University of Florida, transferring from FAMU, the guy at the missions office didn't want to let me in. And so I stood up and I said, "What do you mean I can't come to school down here? I got an Army scholarship, I got an AFPA scholarship, I got an IBM scholarship, and I can't go to school down here." So basically I was reverse engineering his not wanting me to come down. But it's the same thing. And come to find out, that's the strategy I used my whole career. So when I look at something, I decompose it.
Yep, work from death backwards. That's how. That's another way that I train in Systema. We work from death. So you take a knife, you put it to instead of like training the knife coming to you, you actually start it on the neck with the guy with pressure onto it, and you got to work from death backwards. So then when it's coming to you, it makes it, I won't say to use the word easier, but you can deal with the stress of it a lot better when you work from death backwards. Because if you're already dead, what are you worried about? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So why be afraid? It's the same thing that you can use, same type of mentality you can use when you're going into a business meeting or a pitch competition or whatever. Like, that is a book. I think there was a book or something. It's a book for sure. Okay. I forget about the author where he talks about, think about everybody in the room being naked or something like that. Like when you're gonna go up and pitch.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
same kind of concept. If you're standing in front of everybody, and the worst thing that can happen are your clothes fall off in front of everybody, right? So just have that in your mind, and you won't be afraid if you train like that.
Yeah, and so like another concept about how the AI helps you, you use it as a mirror to reflect back to you. You reflect your thinking back to you, so you can learn how to think better. And so when you use it in these ways, you actually grow, in your thinking, and because it's all about thinking is a pattern. So so everything is a pattern, and so the AI sees the patterns in everything. So when you get AI to analyze something, it can extract the patterns, and then you can leverage that, apply that to what you're doing.
I think one of the best things that I ever did was train my chat, right?
Okay.
Initially starting off, I'd hear different people talk about, if they spying on you or you give it too much information, it can do X, Y, Z, or third or whatever. But the truth be told, man, like you got devices all around you, and if unless you're just not gonna say anything, if you say anything that's worth somebody listening to and spying on, they already heard it. Chances are, because there's devices everywhere, so you can't live in fear, right? And the tool is out here for you to use and to maximize. So the best thing I did was I basically fed it everything.
Okay, gotcha.
You understand? I fed it everything, like my hopes, my wishes, my dreams, my desires, my fears, my aggravations. This is me. This is Roy Hatcher. Mm-hmm. This is what I want. Gotcha. What steps do I need to take to get to where I want to be? Mm-hmm. 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, that type of thing. And then, boom. And then it's like, okay, so now break this down as if I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay.
It gives you like these big words and all this. Break this down as if I'm a 5-year-old. Tell it to me in a story format.
Gotcha. So
if you were a little kid and 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 then it just makes it really easy to understand and digest. And then you have to, if you're serious about it, then you activate, you act on it. And that really is what separates the doers from the dreamers.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah. So you definitely use it as a thinking partner, but the more it knows about you. But the irony is, if you're prompting, it done figured out everything about you already because what you've been prompting, and so it literally knows you. It knows your purpose. It literally knows you. So it's because and that's just the bottom line. But all the big companies, they know you too. So if you got any spending habits, or they phones, everything, they know the patterns.
Yeah, there's an algorithm right now I just saw, or I read, and then I saw a video on it. But I read it first, then I saw a video on it where Meta actually tracks your eyes through your screen, apparently,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
whatever you're looking at on it, they're tracking your eyes.
Yeah.
So I mean, since that technology is being readily used on you and is out here and is available, then you don't have to speculate about it. Okay, it's out here. I'm going to use the technology, so I'm going to use it for my own personal benefit. So
Yeah.
I can build up the community and help us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I wanted to share some of the stuff that we make available to folks.
nice.
And so this is a document that has some links in it. This is some research you did on nonprofits right here. And then this, I told you all about the Innovation Summit. This is the link for that. So what I posted in the chat was this document. So just so you can kind of understand what's in it. And you can fill out the form here to get in our Founders Insight program, where you get access to a lot of the tools and AI stuff that we use. And then this here is a notebook that explains what the Founder Insights program is all about. And what we do with the workforce stuff, that's what this particular Innovation Skills Initiative, we use AI to help people in the workforce learn about different careers and develop project plans to take you all the way to your whatever your career goals are. And then so this one is about I believe how the architect's mindset. And so this is in the age of AI, you can actually learn this, because in order to build stuff that scales, you have to shift from the operator mindset to the architect mindset, and so because you want to be able to remove yourself from it and let the AI and stuff do the work. So that's what this one's about. And if you don't pay attention to anything else, pay attention to this last part here. This is the thing that will stop AI from lying to you, and you can use it to analyze any articles, videos, transcripts, you name it. But so this one of our founders, her name is Lanicha, and so she's got this analyst mindset, and so this her approach to prompting literally changes everything, and so this is so I tell this about how this is evolved. I just asked her in one of our workshops, because I noticed her results was better than other founders. And so I just asked her, well, what's her approach to prompting? And she explained it in a couple of minutes. And so the next day I downloaded the transcript and I said, well, what is Lanicha's method of prompting? And it just revealed it to me just from that one question. And then all the prompts that I was normally using, I said, I asked ChatGPT to upgrade all my prompts to Lanicha's method of prompting. and it literally has changed everything. And so my original prompt for analyzing transcripts was simply, what are the key takeaways? What are the insights from those key takeaways, and what actions I should be taking from those insights? And so when it upgraded that was pretty amazing. So the problem with this prompt is you have to tailor it to you. So because what actions I should take is going to be different than actions you should take. So that's why I have this direction set. So this particular prompt in here, it's what it does is actually it's a prompt that creates the Lineature prompt for you based on your prompting history. So once you copy this prompt out of this document, then you go to your large language model, whichever one you use, and then type this in there. Based on my prompting history, my entire prompting, you can say my prompting history over the last month, last 3 years, or whatever, just the entire prompting history framework. You want it to run this prompt that you copied here, and so you just type this in, paste this prompt that's in this document behind it, and then when you run it, it's going to generate a personalized prompt for you, and you use this prompt to analyze anything and everything.
That's basically like a master prompt template.
Yeah, it's a template, and so basically when I was explaining it to the developer, I went through all the steps, and then I just asked ChatGPT to write up me a prompt that would personalize the Lineature method. That's how simple it was, and this is the step-by-step approach to using it. Nice. But it will literally change your whole everything, and it'll stop the because literally I analyze everything with it, and my whole prompting history, everything. So the first thing I would do if I were you, once I created the personalized prompt, I would just have it run that prompt. So I would say, well, the one you get created, I say I would put the same here. Based on my prompting history, run the following framework, which is the prompt. But it would then go get all your prompting history and tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
One of the things that I really appreciate about you, Lloyd, even from way back, was you're not a gatekeeper,
No, absolutely not.
and you got so much knowledge and so much, so many resources, and you're just so giving about with it, man. It's just that is so big, and the community, I feel like more of us need to be like that. It kind of makes me sick when I see these internet, especially these AI gurus.
Yeah.
Creating these so-called master classes, and they charge it's free to get in, then they $47 upgrade to VIP, but they're showing you exactly what it all boils down to is they're going to give you a master prompt. They're going to tell you, and it's I don't know, man. It's
yeah. So I understand your frustration there, but believe it or not,
everybody got to get their hustle on now. I'm not,
But so let me tell you what's so crazy about this particular prompt is you can have this particular prompt and analyze their video.
Absolutely.
And it'll literally recreate everything they told you. You get to the point, it'll recreate everything they told you.
Mm-hmm.
So it reverse engineers everything.
Yeah, for our community to really thrive, like right now through this, because I really feel like we're at the ground level. We're still at the ground
Yeah,
level of what artificial intelligence is going to be, robotics, artificial.
yeah,
We're still at the ground level. For our community to thrive, we really need to collaborate, share
yeah,
resources, pool our resources
yeah.
and build. And don't be afraid to, like, I like being in a room with people who know more than me,
Mhm.
And so we need to do that and things like this more often. And like this room should be packed. Like there should be, to capacity where they're screaming, telling you we can't hold no more people. It should be packed.
Yeah, and I agree, and because a lot of people out there using the AI, but so this is a point I really wanted to make, and I guess this is a perfect example. This prompt here, I share that once you enroll in our Founder Insight program, and guess what? It doesn't cost you anything to enroll in our Founder Insight program. So, but so this is the secret to AI in business. So Lean Stack is a framework that you can evaluate an idea or grow your business. So it's a structured framework. So when you prompt against that framework, it constrains the AI to that Lean Stack methodology. And so all your prompting is concise. So this prompt right here is one that I upgraded with the Lanicia method, and it literally explains what the Lanicia method is in it. But so all you have to do is give it your business idea in the industry, and it goes through 27 steps. It simulates your whole business. So like when I work for the government, we model and simulate all the robots, the weapons, the missiles, and before we actually went out and actually flew them. So we did simulations. So this will literally exercise your business idea, and then if you dump the results of this thing in Notebook LM, it'll reflect it back to you, and it takes it through the whole process. So I had a lady that joined our program a couple of weeks ago, and I sent her this prompt. She said, "Lloyd, this is unbelievable," and because literally it takes you through the Lean Stack, whole Lean Stack framework, business model design, demand validation, and marketing. And so how you went through the 30-day program and a 90-day program. This does that for your business idea in just a few minutes when you do the research mode.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, but it's constrained to a framework. So it does. When I say it's unbelievable, it's unbelievable.
I believe.
Yeah. But that's the power of the AI. It can really research your industry, all the pain points in your industry, all the stakeholders in your industry, and then tell you how to make money based on solving those pain points. I mean, it's the works. And if you run it, depending on how much your large language model know about you, it'll literally start building the application for you. And it also does all your marketing and landing pages and everything.
And you just giving it away.
Well, people that join the program.
Well, you just giving it away, like I just said.
Yeah. Well, just encouraging people because see, literally what I learned out in the startup world, if you don't speak that language of the industry, you're literally locked out of getting all the help you need with your idea.
Yep.
That's what the bottom line. And most people don't understand that. And that, believe it or not, that was the reason why we started this weekly event here, because I knew when all that money started getting set aside for Black founders, that if you're not really ready for it, you ain't gonna, you're not gonna be able to take advantage of it.
Yep.
They can throw all the money out in front of you if they want to, but if you don't know how to answer those 8 questions, you're not even getting in the program.
Nope. And then, and truth be told, if you don't really know your industry like that, and if you do get the money, you're not gonna know what to do with the money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so I'll say this, and we can start to wind down a little bit. The bottom line is that there is a process, there is a methodology, and so what's going on now, this whole all these entrepreneur support organizations, they're literally changing, and so you got to be aware of how they're changing, and it's all a result of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Roy, so anything you want to share with the audience before we get off here? And I think what I'll do for is that there is a video that I have that on how the industry is changing, and we'll let that run. But after you kind of share your thoughts, we'll say goodbye and then let that run. And but it's just so the folks in the audience, so you know how the industry is actually changing, and so you can be aware of what to expect from all these programs that are out there now, because they don't have any choice but to change. And guess why they're changing, Roy? AI. But the other reason why they're changing is that through all these accelerator programs, all this training, the failure rate to start haven't changed in all this past 15, 20 years, because it's hard to train stuff. So now with the advent of AI, it knows how to shepherd the founders through these stages.
Yeah, the clear pathway.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Monetization and ownership. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's across industries.
That's exactly right. And by the way, prompt I was just telling you about, it doesn't care what industry you're in. It doesn't care about anything. It's like I had a lady tell me, it's in the quantum computing industry. She said, well, that's so new. You can't, that's not going to work. But I told the lady, I said, I worked in a research lab. Everything we did had never been done before, and we followed the same methodology. Mm-hmm. It's a methodology that you follow because you don't know what, it's never been done before.
Right. So how can you say it ain't gonna work? You never did.
Yeah. But so like we did our projects were millions and millions of dollar projects. So we didn't know whether it's going to succeed or fail. All we did was we followed that research methodology, and guess what? Guess what? The first step was understanding the whole industry and all the stakeholders and understand what their problem was. That's the first step.
You gotta know. You gotta know what you're going up against.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, any thing you want to share with the audience before you get off here?
So a couple things. One, I want to invite everybody that's in here to continue to come to the weekly meetings that you're having.
Okay.
That's, I'm going to do the same. Like, I feel like it's, we need more of this kind of community discussion, conversation, and information, because the more you hear it, the more it becomes normalized to you, and the more you understand it. So I feel like that's really important for our community. Mm-hmm. And those of us who want to build and be like the founders or become resources for other people, as we get into these rooms and these spaces with each other, I think it's, only magic can happen when we come together. So
yeah,
I think it's, another thing is, be on the lookout for new beings. We're coming. And I just released, so I did the website. I just released So it's a boot camp. And you can go on the website www.newbeings.com, and it's well, it doesn't matter whether you do the dash or not, because I got both URLs. And I was able to buy both of them. They were trying to block me, Lloyd. They were trying to block me. But I was able to get it. So it doesn't matter how you type it in. It'll come up as long as you spell NUBEINGS.com.
I'll put it in the chat here if I can.
And yeah, I'm looking to, collaborate and help creators. I've got a few people that I'm working with who have their own IPs, and I'm helping them bring their IPs to market. If you don't know how to animate, if you don't know how to self-publish, if you got like an idea for a book or a story, like I've done all of that, and I've helped other people do it, self-publish, KDP, or we use something, a company called Book Vault to print on demand.
Okay.
We set your website up and you sell your books through your website. I would still suggest using Amazon as like a validation, right?
Yeah.
When you get your stuff on Amazon, it's validated, it's legit. But then you funnel people to your website where they can purchase your book on your website, and I've got a whole protocol for that, and where you can because Amazon, really and truly, Amazon is like raping you on the cost of your book. I mean, it really are, but they are a huge validation. So it's, just if you have any ideas, you want to bring something to market, you don't know how to do it, you're scared, that's a real thing too. I've had people say, well, I don't know how to, I don't want to, you got the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, I help you get through all of that. So I'll reach out and yeah, that's, it'd be, again, like I said, we have our own original IPs coming out. I published my Perion. It's all over the place now, but this is the book Perion.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So, and he's homegrown, so he's not no alien. That's a brother. that awakened powers inside himself. He homegrown, and so he's actually a school teacher by day. So, but,
and so you bring them to life in your animations, and your worlds and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So just for people who have a concept or an idea, you can literally create anything that you want, whether it's a book, whether it's an animation, whether it's an interactive animation book, because they have interactive digital storybooks now where you actually play through the book, or if you want to make a full like game, and the game can be on PC. You can get the licensing to go on the console. Consoles are like your PlayStation, your Xbox, and to get on those consoles is not as hard as you might think. It's really not, because they're actually looking for intellectual property. These people are looking for intellectual properties. And you can also get, you can have your game on the App Store and the Play Store, so it can be on devices, handheld devices. So there are tons and tons and tons of ways to bring your idea to market, and don't allow yourself to think, well, I don't know how to do it, so I can't do it. And also don't allow yourself to think that, because it's real easy to be scared off by standard pricing. Because I actually found a way of even cutting the cost of getting these things done without cutting quality. So just get at me.
All right, fantastic, Roy. I can literally see you you got your characters, and I can literally see where you going to be able to train the AI based on your characters, and you're going to have a framework, and so the creator is going to be able to prompt your framework to create whatever stories or whatever they want, and that's the power of AI, and so and the CEO of Anthropic, he was saying last month that the power capabilities of these large language models is doubling every 4 months. So by the end of the year, the large language model is going to the capability is going to quadruple.
Yep. So real quick, don't be afraid, because I've heard some people say, well, if the AI can do, film and animations and stuff, then why am I going? The difference is with AI is that it's going to become really valuable to have authentic, original intellectual property or original stories.
Yeah.
Right now, if you look at Hollywood, and this is where they're failing, if you look at Hollywood and the stories that they're coming out with, they're either remakes of stuff from like the 80s, and they're trying to, they change it.
Yeah, all the way back. Yeah.
They have no original concepts or ideas of their own. They just don't. Right.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, and this is where we differentiate ourselves. The reason for that is because they've got boardroom and investors, and they say, well, we've never tried that. This goes back to kind of what you said, that lady was saying. We've never tried that, so we don't know if that'll work. But we know this worked. Look at what Terminator did. Yeah. Look at what Aliens did. So let's make a whole new Terminator, which they're on like 6 or 7 now. And let's make a new Aliens. And so they just keep rehashing the same.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. The same storyline. Yeah.
Blood from and we have the ability now to come in and swoop up all those people who want new, fresh, original ideas, and bringing our own stories to life and to existence.
Well, the neat thing is, you created it, and you're just using AI to help you get it out there faster and quicker. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. And I think that's a pattern, that can be followed for all whatever your career has been, however your brain has been wired, that's sellable.
Yes.
So, and through AI, it can get that stuff out of your subconscious and move you forward. So, Roy, we appreciate you, and we'll be chatting and keeping in touch. I'm gonna play this video, and then we're done for today, and everybody go out and. So, I'll say again, the reason why I'm showing this video is because just so you'll be aware of how the industry has changed, for the Entrepreneur Support Organization. So we'll chat with you soon, Roy. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're deconstructing a really massive shift happening in the startup world. Seriously, forget everything you know about the traditional workshop or classroom model. We're entering a brand new era where the playbook isn't just taught, it's literally built into the software that founders use every single day.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to define this new trend. Then we'll meet 2 of the key architects behind it. After that, we'll zoom out to see what this all means for entire cities, and we'll wrap up with a practical blueprint for how you can actually build the future of innovation.
All right, let's kick things off with a question that frankly challenges decades of tradition. We've all seen it, right? The incubators, the accelerators, the endless mentorship programs. But what if the real breakthrough isn't about teaching at all? What if it's about building?
And that brings us right to the core idea, this huge shift from pedagogy to infrastructure. Think about it like this. It's the difference between giving someone a cookbook and actually building them a smart kitchen. A kitchen that guides them through the recipe step by step and literally won't let them skip the important parts. It's all about building the playbook directly into the system.
Okay, let's dive into our first section here and really try to understand this fundamental change. Because this isn't just a tiny tweak to the old model. Nope, this is a complete rethinking of what support for a startup actually means.
So the pioneers in this space, they spotted a massive problem. You can teach founders the right process all day long, but that doesn't mean they'll actually follow it. There's this powerful thing called innovator's bias, right? It's that temptation to just skip the boring stuff, the validation, and jump straight to building the cool product. So what was the solution? Build platforms that make skipping those crucial steps physically impossible. You know, this whole shift is just brilliantly illustrated by two pioneers who took very different but equally powerful paths to build this kind of founder infrastructure. And we're talking about Ash Maurya and Gregory Shepard. So on one side, you've got Ash Maurya, who I'd call the methodology architect. He's all about going deep. He's focused on super rigorous step-by-step validation, what we call stage discipline. And then on the other side, you have Gregory Shepard, the ecosystem orchestrator. His focus is on going wide. He is literally building the connective tissue between founders, mentors, and investors across an entire region. Now, this slide really gets into the weeds, but here's the absolute key takeaway. Maurya's approach is deep and narrow. His platform is like an enforcer that forces you to validate your idea with extreme rigor. You can think of his AI as a really tough co-founder who's making sure you do your homework. Shepard's approach, on the other hand, is broad and wide. His platform is more of a router, connecting all the different players in an ecosystem. His AI is kind of like a master networker, making the perfect introductions at exactly the right time. This quote, this is pure Maurya. See, it's not about giving friendly advice. It's about building a system you just can't gain. The AI here is not some helpful little chatbot. No way. It is a strict enforcer with a perfect memory, and it tracks your every move, your every pivot, holding you accountable to real hard data. And right here, you see Shepard's grand vision in a nutshell. He's building an operating system for an entire startup region. And the secret sauce? It's what he calls the unified startup profile. It's basically like a passport for founders, a single source of truth that travels with them from an incubator to an accelerator to an investor meeting. It gets rid of all that redundant paperwork and just makes the entire ecosystem way more efficient.
All right, let's pull back a bit, because the real lesson here isn't just about two cool software companies. It's about what they signal for the future of regional economic development as a whole. So right about now, you might be thinking, okay, these are interesting tools, but why should a city planner or, an economic developer really care? Well, the answer is that these platforms aren't just products. They're symptoms of a much, much deeper need in our innovation ecosystems.
So the crucial point is this. Maurya's platform signals that ecosystems desperately need more discipline. They need a shared language, a common understanding of what progress actually looks like. Shepard's platform signals that those same ecosystems need better orchestration, a system that connects all the dots. And here's the thing. You absolutely need both to build a truly effective innovation economy.
And that brings us to the really big picture. How do you take these incredible principles of discipline and orchestration and actually apply them to transform an entire regional strategy?
This slide lays out the fundamental choice that every single region faces. Are you building an ecosystem based on activity or on architecture? Activity looks like a calendar packed with events and networking mixers. Architecture, on the other hand, looks like a clear, easy-to-read map that shows founders exactly how to get from a raw idea to a scalable company. One generates buzz. The other generates real outcomes.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. There's a concrete 12-month action plan here. It starts with defining that ideal founder journey. Then you map out the messy reality of what exists today. Next, you launch what's called a wedge, just one high-impact project that's designed to prove the concept and build momentum. And finally, you measure the results and you scale what works.
So as we start to wrap this all up, what are the key takeaways? What are the fundamental principles you need for designing a modern innovation ecosystem that actually, works?
It all really boils down to these 5 principles. Build clear pathways, not just a random collection of separate programs. Get your partners to coordinate with each other, not compete. Act as a steward for the whole system, not some micromanager. And maybe most important of all, trade in those feel-good stories and that anecdotal optimism for cold, hard, measurable progress.
So we'll leave you with this final and, I think, crucial question. It's really a challenge to every city, every region, and every organization out there. Because as all this source material makes perfectly clear, a region can look incredibly busy, incredibly active, without being structurally effective at all. The future, without a doubt, belongs to those who build the architecture.
He's a, oh, they're gonna blow it.
All right, what do you think, Ray?